Welcome to this podcast where I don't want to say anything goes. It's just I have that stupid, what is her name? Emma Chamberlain. I don't know who the fuck Emma Chamberlain is. I don't. And I don't care to know. I just looked up Anything Goes podcast. I didn't even look up her name, and I'm not going to because I don't care. I just don't care. I listen to so many podcasts, and right now every single ad for a specific podcast has her ad, and it's pretentious as absolute fuck. So pretentious. It's fascinating. Like, she just is like, anything goes on Anything Goes. It doesn't matter if I'm talking about what I eat for breakfast. It doesn't matter if I talk about Phil, my neighbor. He's very special to me. Or what I like to eat for lunch. Anything goes on Anything Goes. That's what vibe it gives to me. You know what I mean? And if that's not the real vibe she gives, hey, that's fine. Because guess what? My girlfriend has a California accent. She sounds like she's from California. And people that have that accent just come off so incredibly arrogant. You know what I mean? Because it's talking like this. And when you're talking like this, you can get things done and move things around. And when you put everything into the same bowl, it creates something new. Like it's a weird way of talking. You know, it kind of gives this vibe of that you're like unable to take things slow and just sit back and meditate for a while. Because my girlfriend doesn't sound like that always. She brings it out heavily when she's talking to people in public. You know, I feel like it's almost like an ADHD thing. Maybe I'm wrong. People out there listening or watching this now, seriously, like, what do you think about that? Because I'm starting to think that just because we're going off a tangent, this is my podcast. Congratulations. What did I call this? Absolute pile of pure speckled gold. Yep, that's what I was going to say. My incoherent ramblings. Welcome to my incoherent ramblings. If that wasn't a great intro to a podcast, then I have no idea what is. But we were talking about Anything Goes. That's the idea of, yeah, I need to think of a better way to phrase that so it sounds much cooler and better. I talk about whatever I want to. No, that's kind of cliche. Yeah, really stereotypical, right from a book or something like that. You know, you know what? You know what? You guys are intelligent. You know what I'm talking about. We're on the same page. I don't know why I started recording this today. I made the name of the podcast like a month ago. I was playing Minecraft and realized, yeah, you know what? When I play Minecraft, I'm basically making podcasts anyways because the game is so, I don't want to say boring, but you know, I mean, it's just you can do two things at once. You know, that's all I'm gonna say. And I just thought might as well just actually make one. And I thought that is kind of what I do. You know, but we are going to have the time of our lives. This is the first episode, so you can understand why I'm talking stupid like this. It's going to be much better later on. I want to do absolute random and wacky things. I was having this idea this morning about how I actually kind of want to fail. Like, not in the way you think, but because I've been watching, okay, you know, I'm going to just shout it out because it's an amazing video and the guy worked really hard on it. It's called 15 Years of the Yogscast, the best Yogscast moments of all time. The guy literally made a 10-hour, 49-minute long video that is every single best bit with, and it's completely random. It's not by year or in any order. It's actually really, really well done. Like, it's completely random. And when they make a reference to a reference, the guys actually edited it next to each other so it makes sense and you actually find it funny. Because I don't watch modern Yogscast content, so they did a really good job with it. So while watching this, I realized, okay, the funniest things that happen are A, completely random, B, completely just off the chest. You are confident and it just happens, you know? And 3, it's a fuck up. You fucked up. You've made a big mistake. You feel cringe afterwards. Something happens and you are just unhappy. But that's the funniest thing to everybody else, right? Like, you just find it so freaking hilarious when that YouTuber accidentally says the wrong word and makes some joke about how it kind of sounds like he wants to have sex with his parents. And it's just so random. You're like, what? But I don't have friends, and I don't play video games with other people on the internet because I feel like maybe I've had a lot of part of my life, you know, where you're battling your inner emotions and feelings towards both other people and yourself. And I really obsessed over how other people viewed me when I was young. I was super obsessed with it because I felt I was stupid, and I decided when I was like 8, I was in elementary school, and I just decided after watching a movie one day with my family that all I want in my life is a girl that I can marry and live my life with forever, and they'd just be my best friend, and we would just love each other, and that's all I need in life. That's all I want. And that was a really stupid thing to want, because holy crap, when you convince yourself of that, you seriously start questioning every single part of you, because you're like, why do people not like me? What is wrong with me? You know, you look back on it, and I look back on it now, and I obviously realize that it's because I was overconfident and didn't know what was socially normal, because you're a kid, you know what I mean? And instead of being corrected, it's just quiet, you know, it's just shunned, it's just put to the side. And even when I became older and I was in my teens, I would do a lot of really cringy shit. Like, I would really, really like a girl, but I'd be way too nervous to tell her. I'd be so nervous to tell her. And so I would just hang out with them all the time and have fun with them all the time. And we would be like best friends. But then when it was like a time where I obviously should be flirting back or, you know, making a move myself, I had a very difficult time advancing that as well. I couldn't bring myself to touch another woman without consent. Like, I just couldn't do it. It was really weird where it felt rapey to me because of my previous experiences. I shouldn't talk about that. You know what? We're not going to talk about that. It's not anything goes. There's certain things about people that you shouldn't know, and it's okay. You know, there's a lot of... I was watching this Frasier episode the other day. This didn't change my mind, but it perfectly encapsulated how I felt. Is that, if you don't know, Frasier is a show that was a spin-off of the show Cheers, where a man named Frasier is a psychologist and gets a radio show host job. And so every episode starts with him like on the radio going, "Hello, Dale. What's your problem today? What can I help you with?" And Dale's like, "Oh, well, I had a fight with my wife this morning. She said that she wants to take the car, but it's my car. I paid 16 grand for it, Phil." And and then he's like, "My name's Fraser." And the guy's like, "Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Philip, but I paid for that car." And it's just, I don't know. It's just something stupid where he makes fun of himself. It's not good. I didn't just bring up a random one. I couldn't think of anything. Okay, don't at me, Jesus Christ. But okay, that episode is about how Frasier and his brother come in to a restaurant. They sit down at a restaurant. They're having a nice meal. It looks like a nice little Italian restaurant. And then a waiter walks by, and Frasier looks at the waiter, and his brother looks at the waiter, and then he catches their father at another table with an older woman, the same age as him, ish. They're probably in their 40s, I'm gonna guess. So their dad's got gray hair. He's actually looks like a very attractive man, just old. And they're like, what's dad doing over there? Is he dating? Oh my God, we've seen Dad had a date. What are we gonna do? And so they try to hide it for a while. And then the woman leaves, and Frasier's brother looks at the woman, and he's like, "Frasier, do you know who that is? That was our neighbor growing up at the summer house." And Frasier's like, "What? Blah, blah, blah?" And he's like, "Blah, blah, blah." And then he's like, "Oh. And they're shocked. Well, they confront their dad about it because they think their dad was having an affair with this woman. Because they go home, and Frasier's brother finds a lot of pictures of faces being cut out of family photos. A lot of faces. And they all think that they are faces of her, of this woman, because their mom got mad and cut them out. So they don't want to confront their dad. They're obviously being little bitches about it. And the fucking help, the dad comes in and he's like, what are you guys talking about? And the help is like, "Oh, they want to talk to you about your problems. And then the kids obviously are like, "Hey, and the dad says, "Yes, okay, you know what? Yes. I had an affair with your mother. Okay? Let's leave it at that. I do not want to talk about this ever again. Do never bring this up." And that's it. And he walked away. And so Frasier's having a really difficult time dealing with this. He's really pulling himself down. He's really emotional, and he's just having a hard time doing his job. He's having a hard time doing anything. He gets a knock at his front door. And he goes over to the door, and he opens the door, and it is his neighbor, the neighbor. And she's like, "Oh, is your father here? I have something to tell him. I'm so sorry about the other night. It was nothing really." And Frasier is super fucking petty and an asshole to her. He's like, "This is, I don't want to speak to you right now. I don't want to hear about it. You're an absolute terrible person. You should feel shame, and you should feel absolutely awful," like that type of thing. And she's like, "What? Why would you say that? I understand that I didn't know you knew about it, but your mother and my husband, they did some bad things, and we have to forgive them for it." And Frasier, has the same moment you and I are having right now. We're like, "What? Oh my God. Huh?" Frasier then goes to the dad, and the dad says, "It's because I don't want you to think worse of your dead mother. I do not want you to put her name in the ground. I want you to have the same happy thoughts you have always had with her. And I want you to live a happy life because of it." That's what he wanted, and that's why he said that. It really, really made you happy and just. I don't know how. I've never felt so much emotion from a show in the sense of just, oh my God, I. I can't. Oh, yeah. Like sometimes you say things for a reason, you know. Most of the time you should just say things because, you know, you're on autopilot and things are just happening. But certain things are just said. And we'll leave it at that. I don't know how long I'm going to record this episode. I can't remember where this started from. Incoherent Ramblings. That's the podcast. So I'll introduce myself a little bit because this is the first episode. People don't know me. Nobody knows me. I mean, really. Even people that watch my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel. They don't really know me all that well because I wanted to be entertaining, you know. And to be entertaining, you don't talk about who you are, the type of person you are, and really describe what you think and feel. You just react. You know, it's all about reacting. It's all about making fun of things, you know, which totally fair. It's going good. I'm just having fun with it, you know. I don't really get all that many views right now, but I am enjoying it. And that's all that matters, you know. And the only reason I bring up the views thing, because I feel like I have to, and I feel like I have to because I get a lot of people that I'll be talking to on the internet, and they will then go to like my YouTube channel because I have in like my bio that I create YouTube content, you know. And they'll then go to your YouTube content, and then they'll see that you don't get, you know, thousands of likes and you don't have millions of subscribers, and they're like, "Oh, you're fucking nobody. You only get this many views," and it's like, why? You know, like, why does it matter to people? Another example is whenever I upload a tweet to iFunny, because uploading long text to iFunny isn't really its type of platform. You upload memes. Well, it's not really memes anymore. It's mostly politics and opinions. So I upload some of my opinions that I think are correct, morally right. And if you upload a normal tweet that obviously doesn't have any likes or retweets, you're not someone famous, it doesn't get any attention. But for some reason, whenever I took the same exact tweet and went into my phone app editor, the most simple, easy to do thing, and you pull out a bright red marker, and I just lazily write in like, under comments, yes. I don't even put a number. And you'll put in like 3 million likes and 2 reposts. Like stuff that obviously is a joke. It's a real blazingly obvious joke because it's in bright red, and that type of post will get instantly featured on iFunny. Now, I know featured isn't what it used to be, people that do know iFunny, but it basically means that the app will push that on their front page. But it's only when I do that. When I don't add the stupid, funny kind of like thing at the bottom, it doesn't get as much attention. And I only am putting this out as a point because there's a lot of people that will also see that and actually believe that I am trying to hide that I got no attention in the first place when it's in bright red marker. And you can go to my Twitter and see the real thing. Like, it doesn't really matter. The words you say, the things you say and speak matter. What type of popularity you have doesn't anymore. It really, really doesn't. Because in our day and age, when you get millions and millions of likes and follows and whatever, you can safely assume that at least 40%, 50% of that are children. They're people under the age of 18. And so why do people judge others based on their either their PhD, their education, or their huge amount of internet following? It's so weird, but it does matter to a lot of people. It matters a lot. And that's where people start to get into clickbaity shit, and you start making like YouTubers react, and you start doing what, gamer tier lists. You start doing I went out in the forest with Chuck E. Cheese and only came 3 times. OMG. You don't get any of the. You wouldn't believe what we found in this cave deep under the Sahara. Or what about KFC is a cult for indigenous peoples? I think it's morally wrong to try to manipulate people like that, you know? I grew up as a salesman. My grandparents owned an orchard, so I spent a lot of my very young life selling produce on a farmer's market. And so from that experience, I learned ways that people manipulate people for money. But my family always tried to take the most pride in doing things right. My grandma always said, do what's right. She said, no matter what, do what's right. You know, and you think that's simple, and you think that makes her a very simple sounding grandma, but you know, it is true. At the end of the day, as long as you're trying to do that, that's all that matters. You know, that is all that really matters. But when I see other people, the vast majority of other people not doing that, it then makes me upset. Like, as an example, when I worked at the farmer's market, I might blow a lot of people's minds here. I always wanted to make a documentary about this. If I ever made enough money off of YouTube or something, I'd make a documentary about this. But every farmer's market I've worked at, the vast majority of people selling produce are not real farmers. What they do is that they get their property approved as a farm. And in order to do that, all you do is go to the market master, who is the person who runs the market, which is a person that is paid, and they will hire someone else or go themselves to visit your farm and to approve it for selling stuff. And it turns out you don't need that much to really get approved at all. A market master will approve you for, 3 apple trees and maybe a shed. You know what I mean? It's not hard at all, because you can claim that you're just growing these out of your greenhouse or in your garden. They don't do checkups on you they don't do checkups on you often. And they do not actually know any of the signs, or they just don't care, and they're getting paid under the table by these people. Most people, what they'll do is that they won't have much property, or they won't be growing actually that much at all, and then they will buy produce from Cisco or MEMIER. Even just walk into MEMIER, just like you and I, buy the peaches because they're on sale this week. They're cheaper this week. They're on sale. So the farmers at the farmers market will be like, whoa, shit, even more profit. So they then will buy the stuff on sale from MEMIER and resell it to you. Like, literally, that is the majority of farmers at farmers markets. They're called hucksters. Okay? They're hucksters. The other way you can tell a real farmer from a huckster is the boxes. Okay? So underneath their stand or behind their stand or in their truck, because you can see them right there, you're going to have to look for these cardboard boxes that are about a foot by 2 feet, like a foot by 2, and then they're maybe about half a foot tall. And they will have a logo or label on it, like Arizona peaches or some sort of produce. Those are the half bushel boxes that get the produce from at Cisco. Like, you literally open it up, take the produce, and give it to the customer. We'd take off the sticker. That's what you would do. You would take off the sticker to sell it. And we would get there at like 6:30 a.m. or 5:30 actually. I remember with my dad, we would get out of the truck, and you would start putting tomatoes in quart boxes. You know, you got these really shitty paper quart boxes, and you got like a shitty half bushel box or basket that you bought like the boxes from, you know, years ago or whatever. And the people in front of you pull up, and they literally just get out and they have brand new everything, you know, brand new little cardboard boxes that they put the tomatoes in. They take out these huge tomatoes, you know, peeling off the stickers, putting them in, peeling off stickers, putting them in, peeling off stickers, putting them in, peeling off stickers, putting them in, and you just make a huge array of them, and it looks impressive, and you're like, all right, cool. And you stand back and you wait till customers to show up. Oh, and then when you need to restock it, you just have someone in the back just taking a bunch of stickers off of a bunch of extra produce and then sorting it into another box that doesn't have stickers on it. And so that way you have a bunch that is already stickers taken off of it, because you got to take the stickers off eventually anyway, so you might as well do it now. The other thing they'll do at farmers markets is actually sell you worse produce. For instance, with tomatoes, you can buy there's gradients. Okay, all produce has gradients. When you go to the grocery store like MEMIER and you buy an apple, you buy a tomato, you buy whatever, that produce is what we call a number one. There are 3 grades of produce, 1, 2s, and 3s. 1s are perfect because they all are the same shape. They do not have any blemishes. They look perfect. And those are what you would buy in the store. Number 2s are things that do have blemishes. There may be some big ones, some smaller ones. They're not that perfect same size, but they're still very edible. And then number 3s are the extremes. And if you ever bought number 3s, there's a good chance that there's some rotten ones in there too, just because the blemishes break open and it starts to rot. But it's still edible. A lot of times people will buy like number 3s for deer feed or something like that. Obviously, the reason they do this is because it's cheaper. Number 1s are very expensive. They're the same price while they're a little bit cheaper than buying in the store, which is why the farmers are able to sell number 1s because you're buying them in bulk. But number 2s are way cheaper. They're like half the price. If you ever want to make tomato sauce or something, go to some place like Gordon Food Service or Costco and you buy a case of number 2s because you don't care. You're making it into sauce anyways, and it's much cheaper. But you can also sell that produce at the farmer's market. No one's going to be selling you number 3s anywhere because they're really bad, and normal people, that even us, like farmers, when we pick number 3s, we're, you know, a lot of times throwing it out because we can choose and eat the good stuff anyways, or we're giving it to deer, something like that, you know. But you can buy each of these gradients from Cisco is what I'm getting at. So people that were smart and really trying to huckster out the hucksters would buy number 2s and say we homegrown these, and people would believe them more. But we would also have customers that would come to us to buy produce and look at our stand and our apples and whatnot and say, hey, you know, this apple has a blemish on it, I don't want it. And you have to look at them and go, it's an apple. This is how shit grows. Are you, like, if I was only selling number 1s as a real farmer, if I was only selling number 1s, I would never make money. There is no way you can make money. Who is sorting through all those things? That's impossible. That's unrealistic. Which is why a lot of apple farmers and whatnot will also just make apple cider or juice or something else with the apples, because people are so nitpicky. You will have so many people look at you and think that your produce is worse just because the huckster across the street says that they're a farmer and has perfect looking produce. They will then look at you and think that you're just a worse farmer, when in reality, you're the only actual real farmer. We actually got kicked off of a farmer's market for saying that, because obviously we then started, we made drama, and that they don't want that, which is fair. But still, like, these are real things that are happening. It's terrible. Watermelons, I've seen it with everything, really. It's it's kind of hard to do anything yourself anymore. It's really true. We know how to do things ourselves. Our generation is the generation of knowledge. Don't get me wrong. We are the knowledge central. Everything is at the tip of our fingertips, and we've been raised that way. But nobody really does anything with it. Nobody. Everyone, all the friends I know, nobody's going out there, hoeing the ground, planting seeds, and or grinding up meat and drying it for ages to get sausage or cheese or something like that. It's just not a thing people do anymore because it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort to really make that stuff homemade. A lot of effort, and you need a lot of money as well because you need to own a farm, and farmland is really expensive. And that's because most people that go out and buy farmland or live in farmland areas are not farmers. Where my grandparents live now, if you drive through it, I would say 80% of the houses don't own the farmland that they're on. They don't own any of the farmland. The house is literally just this little plot of land. And all the farmland has been sold to someone like Pioneer Sugar or some company that grows corn or soybeans or something, some much larger farmer. The one farmer that is still left standing and has bought all the other stuff and has really min-maxed it and really, he's the only one left. But of course, he is selling all of his produce to Meijer or Kroger. He's the one that they're buying the produce from. That's the thing. Everyone else, they sold their property and moved somewhere else, like up in the woods. They got a cabin, a nice ass cabin. They retired for life. They did something like that. And all the land that's left are these little houses, and all of them are decked to the nines. If you drive through a neighborhood up in the boonies and it is house after house of a bunch of farmland, but it's a bunch of houses, and all of them look really, really expensive, you know that those houses were originally really shit. They tore them down and just rebuilt the house. And they only own that land that they're on. And they just like a little slice of the country, That's what they think, and that's what they like, But it's created such a problem for our generation. We can't do anything we can, and I would like to, but it takes a lot of money and effort. Like if I had the space, I would like to grow produce, like grow trees and whatnot. But you need a lot of space to grow trees. And I would love to cook meat and sell it as a burger, but you need to buy a restaurant. There's so many things that I would love to give something to the community that they can really enjoy. That is something that is a part of me. And they can really love and enjoy it, because I feel like that is the way that you make money, is that you actually do what you love, and money will come eventually. I don't believe in clickbaity, I want to be famous mental. It's cringe to me. Like when I heard a podcaster that I was listening to say something like, well, how else are we going to be famous? It was shocking to me. Most people are going to just brush it over and be like, God, this guy is so fucking melodramatic. I fucking hate him. Jesus. Ugh. God, we should just rip his pants off him and burn his pants so he has to walk around without pants on. How embarrassing would that be? Yeah. I don't know. But I guess this is it for episode 1. I've lost the train of my thought. But You know what? It is the first episode. I feel like I should make it long. Because if people like the future, then they want to know more about me right now at the beginning, you know? So I feel like I should just be my genuine self and stay a little bit longer. Maybe I'll just talk a little bit about how my day is right now because it might be different later on. This is kind of like a nice little thing for me too. I can listen to this like 10 years from now and be like, oh my God, I'm such a repetitive, feeble minded sounding. I started using iFunny when I was in junior year of high school. I'm going to talk about this like trauma. This stupidest fucking thing in the world. But I started using it when I was a kid, and I thought it was funny because it had a lot of the very old stereotypical memes. And then, of course, during the 2012 360 no scope 420 Blazed gamer meme era, it was just amazing. That was like my favorite part of my life. That was incredible. Oh boy. Shit. Why was I even bringing that up? I was just being nostalgic about the greatest time of my life. Oh no, is I funny? I then realized that it became super political and it became a place of just pure politics. And for like a year there, it was just there was a lot of posts that were also like people complaining about the people with politics. But now there's not nearly as much of any of that. You know, I think most of the people have left the app, which is totally good. You know, I think that's totally fine. Problem is I actually, you know what? I fucking lied. I don't think it's totally fine because it creates a bubble. That's what happens. Is that when I was using iFunny, it's because I wanted to be completely anonymous. And I didn't like having Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or any of those things because my girlfriend at the time was super, super, super controlling and would overreact about everything. She was the first girlfriend I ever had. And I told you what I wanted in life. So I was trying my best to be very serious. I was a confused guy, whatever. She became this type of person that would see me online, like on social media, and because Facebook and whatnot, they say you're online. You know, you couldn't say that you're not online right now. Or eventually you could, or on certain social media you could and you couldn't. But it got to the point where she'd be like, "Why are you on Facebook? You should be talking to me." Or "Why are you on this? You should be on Instagram. You should be talking to me." Like, "Why aren't you responding to me? But you're scrolling through Instagram." And it'd be like, I opened my phone and Instagram was still there, and I like scrolled up to like look at my home screen for something. Like I needed to use a calculator. You know what I mean? And it would show you're online for like 2 seconds, but she would, you know, panic because all she's doing all day is just staring at her phone, just lonely, and doesn't really have any friend group outside of that, you know. And if when she does it, she's super obsessed with that friend group, which, you know, her choice, not mine. That's why I used iFunny, because she didn't know it existed. She didn't know it was a social media. I could comment and talk to people and get subscribers and, you know, do things like that. It became a safe haven where I could be fully anonymous and no one would know who I was, and I could just do whatever and talk about whatever I want. But then it became that everyone left because of the politics, and it was majority really, really hardcore conservative people and racist people. Hardcore racist. And if not racist, just really anti-Semitic, which I don't want too much politics. I don't want to get into any of that stuff, but it really drags you down sometimes. It's a lot of cynical nihilism. It's a lot of arrogance, because I will post some of my funny content on iFunny, and is the only social media app that I upload to that will instantly get a lot of hate. And it's all people who haven't watched the entire video, or they've seen 2 seconds, they've seen what I've looked like, and they just instantly will insult you just because they want to like get under your skin a little bit. You know, they're just this little weirdo that's like, "Yeah, I get my kicks in," you know what I mean? And it's funny to me. I find that funny. I do kind of laugh a little bit. I'll open my phone and just be like, "What the? These people are so fucking stupid. Like, what the fuck?" I love it. 10 out of 10. And sometimes, like today, I felt so good and honored. And I feel cringe for saying this because I'm talking about internet and internet drama. And normally I think that's stupid as hell because what really matters is the relationships and family you have in real life. But right now I feel very like I'm trying to get in tune with my internet personality side as well because I make content. There was this guy on iFunny. I'm not going to say his username because it honestly, between me and you, it is kind of a funny username. It's not clever, but it's funny, you know, in the way that like, haha, balls, that sort of humor. You know what I mean? So I mean, whatever. Uh, and this specific character always would just say really, really obscenely racist stuff. Like, not normal racist stuff that can be sometimes funny, obscenely racist stuff. You know, like, well, they straight up are not people. They are not defined as people. Like, the only people that should own guns are white people, and no other people should own weapons because they're not actually people, anyways. That level of extreme belligerent racism that you're just like, you know, this dude will never have a educated sit down and just a civil communication back and forth. And he would post this stuff daily, constantly. I would see him daily in the comments saying these things. And at first, you know, you respond to it like in an anti-racist way or some sort of quippy way where you're just kind of like, dude, that's kind of just weird and rant. Why are you bringing this up? That's kind of petty. And then he would just respond something to like, oh, well, you're just a stupid, you know, monkey anyways. And you're like, well, okay, this guy's just whatever. But today I said something to him. He's really popular. I want to emphasize this because it's not just some random guy on the internet. It's someone that was very, very prominent on the iFunny community. Like, everyone on iFunny knows this guy. And so much so that other people in the community have made memes about him using his like username and his profile picture and stuff, saying stuff like my favorite subscriptions on iFunny, and it's like them, and you're like, what the they have people that like them so much that they literally make content about them. That's insane. It's insane. So today I just said, has this guy ever made a funny non-racist comment? Because I realized that he's commenting daily all the time, but I've never seen something normal and funny. It's just blatant racism. It's not funny. It's just weird. Like, why are you just spouting off like this, dude? It's weird. It's just weird. You don't go into a comment section and just start blatantly telling everyone about how good titty milk is. It's funny, but you wouldn't walk into church and tell someone that right in front of their face. Even if you're religious or not, it's just not a thing to do. You just don't do it. It's weird, dude. And the internet is the exact same way. But these people don't think the internet is the exact same way because they are afraid of themselves. They are extremely insecure. And I will prove this because after I said that, he, of course, got belligerently racist again. And there was someone that replied to that defending him. A third party came in and started defending him. And he replied to me with some sort of British Hitler chanty like music that I think was a BBC comedy skit that they took out of context and then made a drawing and like a dance and a song. You know what I mean? One of these, just kind of like, okay, like it's just kind of like political propaganda, I guess, is all it is, literally. And I realized when I tapped on the meme, because I had to listen to it, because I was like, all right, well, let's see what people are actually sending me, because I need to. I know most people would just say, no, that's stupid, but I want to be someone that is. I actually know what people think, not because I am overconfident in my own capabilities, but because I need to ensure that I am not overconfident by asking questions. You have to ask questions. You have to actually talk to these people and try to respect their point of view up to a point where they no longer will be willing to talk to you. Because if they're willing to talk to you but they're disrespecting you, they're still talking to you. They still think that they're getting something out of this. And that is an insane amount of power you have over someone else. If they are insecure like this guy was, I knew that I could talk to him and say anything I want and he will respond. So if I'm going to do that, I might as well try to be constructive and figure out who he is and how he can better his life a little bit. Of course, I don't word anything like that. I'm a little bit more intelligent than that. So he says something blatantly racist. Whatever, that meme happens. And then I open up the comments underneath that meme, and this guy with the funny username, you know, the popular iFunnier, he's commented under this meme, oh my God, absolutely unfathomably the basest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's like 3 minutes ago. So you're like, okay, so he just he saw this guy's reply to me, went to the meme, went to the comments, commented that, then replied to me with the same meme. That was so, I was whole. I was like, I cannot believe this fucking dude is going this far. This is amazing. Like, it somewhat sounds fucked up, but I'm just playing with these people. That's what I'm doing. And so he does that, and I go to the comments, and I go underneath the family based, and I'm like, holy crap, you went to a guy's reply, opened it up, and made a comment just to praise how much it is. Like, that's all I'm just pointing out what happened. And he replies with because I say something like, man, you must be, this shit is as soft as your dick in a cage. And so he feels emasculated. And he replies with an image of himself. Okay, I'm going to put it up in the video, actually, and I'll describe it now. It is an image of himself holding his fist, so you know he's flexing really, really hard. You know, he's holding it really tough. And this arm, and it looks like the fucking most mediocre fucking arm ever. You know, it's the most average ass male arm I've ever seen in my goddamn life. Not impressive in the slightest. With a emoji over his head, and it's a flash picture from a camera, and you know there's like a shitty vent and a bunch of like something in the corner, but the mirror that he's taking the picture in is extremely dirty. Like someone's just spit all over it. He has never cleaned that thing ever. I'm betting you that man has never cleaned that mirror, because he's the type of dude that's like, oh, women, that's for women's jobs, probably. I'm just guessing that one. I don't know that one. We don't know that one. I'll give him that. He could not be sexist. Maybe he loves women. I will not shame the man for loving women. But okay, but then I respond, is that you? Holy fuck, what a little insecure twink that you feel compelled to upload an pic of yourself flexing. Cover your face Go back to 4chan. Like, if you want to be anonymous, go to 4chan. That's literally what that social media is. It's just being anonymous. It's literally everyone's just called anonymous. That's what 4chan is. When you see green text, it's anonymous. And that's why they say, hey, anon, because everyone's anonymous. People don't know that. That's why I'm explaining it. And oh my god, I do not understand the extremely racist, weird ass, obviously insecure people that make an iFunny account and then act like that they can just be this weird anonymous fucking freak. I'm like, I was anonymous at a point, sure, but I didn't try to take advantage of it in this super weird and politically, I mean, I guess my way is politically charged. The way I'm manipulating them and talking to them, getting underneath their skin, getting inside their head, making them think about their life choices. I guess that is doing that. But I don't know. He blocked me after that. I said that and he blocked me. He like that triggered him fucking hard, like really fucking hard. He responded to me in the other comment section like, "Prove you're not brown." And I responded to him like, dude, you could have gone to my profile for 2 seconds. I literally have my face all over my profile. I'm a content creator. I don't say that part, but I attached my face to it, and he's like, oh, you're some fucking Irish pleb. You absolute fucking I can't even check because he blocked me. So after you get blocked on iFunny, you can't see his profile at all. You can't go to his profile. You can't see I couldn't see any of his memes. I couldn't see any of his comments anymore. Like normally when I get blocked by people, you just can't interact with them. This person, I couldn't see anything up from them anymore at all, which was weird. But I don't even think I'm all that much Irish. You know, I kind of look like it, I guess, but I'm obviously extremely American. That's what I would call myself, at least. But I've come from 100 years ago doesn't matter. We're at 50 minutes. How about we end this episode off with a little bit of a teaser? I realized after talking to my Serbian coworker, he's a really nice nationalistic guy, you know. He's like, yeah, Serbia. I like learned a lot about nationalism in the sense of my own nationalism. I always had, everyone's got a certain amount of nationalism, but nationalism itself is such an interesting topic. And if you don't know anything about it, you should definitely look into it. But I'll explain a little bit of an idea of what it is and why it's kind of a core to a lot of the problems that you see on the news and in countries, is that every country or nationality, ideology has a belief system. And some people, like the Serbians and the Armenians, the Israelis and the Palestinians, Americans and Russians, these people pick a point in time. They choose but specifically, for instance, if we're talking about Russia, Soviet era Russia and modern to almost now era Russia, America the same way. Do you think of the best part? What time in America was the best time to live in America? You know, and as a white man, I'd say the early 1900s. I would fucking do super well in the early 1900s. You didn't have cops or anything. You could do whatever the fuck you want. It's literally Red Dead Redemption 2. As a white man, fuck yeah. Sure, you might die from tuberculosis, like at the age of 25. But, hey, I bet it would be really, really fast paced that entire time. Or it'd just be shit. Maybe I'd be autistic as hell and I would just hate. No, I don't know. Fuck, who the hell knows? But, anyways, when you pick a time in your life that you think in the time of America where you think this is the best time, and I think that where we're at now is bad, and we should be more like that. I'm not saying that, of course. I think what we're doing now is actually very good in a lot of ways, and I'm happy in the life, the generation I'm in now, with the internet and everything. I think this is fascinating. We are literally the driving force of centuries to come. They will talk about what chaos has happened within the first 100 years after the internet was created. It is such, it's literally like creating the wheel. It's like making fire for the first time. That's what's happened to us. And it's extremely documented. But when a lot of people believe that, oh, it should be more like the 1700s, or it should be more like before slaves happened, or got rid of, I'm sorry, that's what I meant. Or both, I guess, depending on how far back you go. You believe that you're right. You become extremely overconfident in your own capabilities. You think, okay, I know what's right because this is my holy land. I know what's right because these are the people I believe in. I know what's right because I was raised in this specific way. That's what it boils down to. And the world is just filled now with these extremely nationalistic people that are willing to kill to get their way. Because with the internet, everything has been extremed. Everything is extreme. You literally can't, it's everything. Absolutely. Anything you can fathom has been taken to the extreme. So a lot of people feel like you need to be extreme as well. You cannot be quiet during a genocide, is a quote I saw today. What? You cannot be quiet during a genocide? This is a very moral conundrum, you know? I'm watching the Loki show right now, and in that show, they're talking about cutting off timelines. So they're killing billions and billions of lives because they're cutting off not only our planet, but every planet that has ever existed in any universe outside of space for an entire timeline, you know, for an entire universe. It's just crazy to fathom, you know, all those people dying. It just becomes ridiculous at that point. Yet someone thinks that you cannot be quiet during a genocide. Well, what about the people who don't know it exists? What about the people who want nothing of either one of these people's arrogant views, you know? Right now we're having such a huge weird scenario where I feel like one side is extremely justified in doing what they did. The other side is reacting in a way that is way too overbearing and not understanding at all, and almost an extreme retaliation. Very similar to how Russia invaded the Ukraine, is kind of how I feel. And that's where you start to get nationalistic. What side do you believe? What side is really telling the truth? Who really fired that rocket into the hospital? Who really did all of these things? It becomes one person's word over another. There's a woman that was reporting for Israel, and she was walking, and she's like, I've seen piles, bodies, babies beheaded. She's talking like that, but it's commas. There are commas between her words. And it became this huge, overblown media story. Every single media outlet had this headline of Israeli government accuses Palestinians of beheading 40 babies, or they'll make it worse and just say they did, stuff like that. And in reality, what it was is that she was like, "Oh no, that was a mistake. I just meant to, I just was saying things off the top of my head. I was very, dazed." And you're like, why do we need news now? Like, why do we need news right now? Why do I need to know what's going on right this instant? Because I'll be frank with you guys, I think that I would be fine with a government like social media. I always felt like that was fine. Like I'd make an account on a government social media. Why not? Because in order to live in a country, I feel like you must trust your government to a certain degree. And there's a lot of people that do not trust our government for very good, valid reasons. But I don't distrust our government in the way of that they don't have my interest in heart. What I think is that they don't want to kill me. Okay, there's a lot of people that believe that they just want to kill you, which is just that's just stupid. You're people. They don't want to kill you. Like, how crazy do you have to be to live in a first world country and think that your government wants to kill you? It's wild. Uh, like seriously, there's a lot of people out there that believe that, and I don't believe it that far. And I don't believe that they would want to make me poor either. And I don't believe that they have some will to destroy me. They have an agenda. But up until now, I felt like our agendas sort of matched. And that the general gist of how the government was working as a whole, because while you do have the left and the right, they come together and create sort of something that works. And it was working for some time, for me at least. And now I sort of think that the politics have gotten a little bit hold of things. And it's weird that a president that we have now is making really harsh decisions, like supporting strikes and unions and stuff like that. Like, it's just crazy, dude. Absolutely crazy. So that's the end of our podcast. I'm a little bit over an hour now. I talked about everything on my mind. Congratulations. I hope it wasn't too terrible. I hope it didn't get too political and didn't piss off too many people. I think that I try to be very chill and laid back. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Check out my channel for other normal, amazing content. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.